If you love salmon, you've come to the right place. So today I'm going to show you my new favorite way to cook salmon. I have 4 beautiful skin-on salmon fillets here, and the method I'm going to use today is sous vide. And if you don't know what sous vide is, it's basically where you vacuum seal or pop in a snap lock bag a piece of meat or fish, any kind of protein or even vegetables, and you set it at a set temperature and the water is circulated around that meat for your desired amount of time. So for example, we're going to cook these for about 45 minutes at, I think I'm going to do about 45 degrees Celsius, and we're going to get a really perfectly cooked salmon. So the texture is going to be amazing, the flavor is going to be fantastic, and it is just going to be perfect. So I've got a few other things that I'm going to make on the side as well, but let's get straight on to doing the salmon. So for the salmon, I'm just going to open it up and lay it on some paper towel in some salt. I want to try and just cure it a little bit, not for very long, maybe only about 20 minutes, just to help season the salmon itself. Oh, look at this salmon. Salmon, like any meat, can obviously come at very varying qualities. Now this salmon here is a very good quality salmon from a seafood shop, and it looks amazing. So I'm just going to lay these out skin side down. I'm just going to give them a really gentle pat dry, and then come in generously with some salt. All right, and while that's going, I'm going to pop my sous vide on just so it starts to warm up. Now, if I'm perfectly honest, sous vide is also actually quite new to me as well, but I have in the past month or so been using it a lot and I love it. So it is as simple as just getting a pot or a container, and you have a little clip here, so you just pop the sous vide in the pot. You might need a little bit more water. I swear I do this every time. I think I've got enough water, but I don't. That should be plenty. So all we do is we pop it on. So I'm just going to set my sous vide to 45 degrees, and we're going to go for 45 minutes. So for the salmon, it is quite thick. I'm going to go to the 45 minutes. If you've got a small piece of salmon, I would just set it for 30. Now, as you can see, this may look very complicated, but all that's happening is this is heating the water and circulating it. So anything that goes in here will be kept at the exact temperature you want it at. So there we go. Now, in regards to how I'm flavoring the salmon, I'm just going to keep it very simple. I'm going to cook the salmon in 2 separate bags. So I've got 2 cloves of garlic, and I'm just going to chop this up just roughly into slices, and this will sit around the salmon. I will not be eating this garlic, so it can go in slices. You can even just crush it if you like. The more surface area, the more garlic flavor will get into the salmon. Now, a good thing to remember too is since it's cooked over a period of time in a sealed bag, you will have stronger flavor. So if you like usually 3 garlic cloves on your salmon, you should use less because the flavor will be more intense. So I've got some garlic here. I've also got some rosemary for a little bit of nice flavor, and I've got some dill. Now I'm actually going to chop up the dill a little bit and sprinkle it over the salmon, just to add a bit of a nice fresh flavor. Whereas the rosemary, I'm just going to put in as is and take it out at the end. Just love the smell of fresh dill. It just goes so well with salmon. So again, I'm just going to slice it up roughly. And the other delicious thing is I'm going to use some lemon. Now, I don't love the idea of cutting lemon or squeezing lemon on the salmon. As it is cooked over a long period of time, the acid from the lemon will actually cook it as well. So I'm a bit worried about the texture. So I'm going to use my microplane, and I'm just going to use the zest of the lemon, which will be absolutely delicious. And it's just going to impart a nice gentle flavor of lemon without it being bitter. So my salmon is cured for a few minutes now. I'm just going to tap off gently the excess salt and some of the moisture that's come to the surface. And it's time to come in with some of our flavorings. So I'm going to start with some lemon zest, microplane it gently over the top of the salmon. Again, we don't need a lot, just a little bit. We just want a hint of lemon flavor. Don't you just love the smell of fresh lemon? Smells amazing. So next I'm going to add some more salt again. Now not too much because we have already salted it, but just a little bit. Some pepper. because pepper's delicious. I also wanted to add just a slight bit of onion powder since I'm not going to add any onion into this. You can chop it up lightly, but I just don't want it to be overpowered. There we go, just putting the slightest, like the tiniest amount on. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to drizzle on a tiny little bit of olive oil. We don't need much. We don't really need to add any at all if you don't want to. You can keep this very, very healthy. I find a little bit of oil or even a bit of butter in there can help to kind of carry the flavor and to make sure that it gets to all of the salmon. So the other thing now is I'm just going to gently massage the lemon and the olive oil into the salmon. Don't forget the sides. I'm not going to put any on the skin at the moment because after this is sous vide, I would like to sear that skin and get that a little bit crispy. So I don't want it to have too much lemon or herbs on it. I'm also going to sprinkle on some of this dill and then massage that in, spread it out. And now I'm going to grab my bags. You can do it all in the same bag if you like to. I just think it's a bit easier to have them submerged in 2 bags. And I'm using Snap-Lock bags. You can use a vacuum sealer if you like. This is the cheap and easy option. I don't actually have a vacuum sealer and I've never had a problem using these either. You just need to make sure that you get food safe ones, which these generally are because they are for food. But remembering you are heating them. So you just got to make sure that they're safe. So we're just going to slip these fish into the bags. Now that they're in, I'm gonna add 1 rosemary twig to each, and then just a few slices of this garlic. Now again, these herbs are all optional. You can add what you like. You could just add your favorite packet of seasoning. I've done that a few times when I'm feeling a bit lazy. I just want it to be nice and quick and easy. Now the other thing that I will do is I will just add a little bit, only a little bit of butter to these bags just to help carry the flavor in. And again, this butter will melt and will just help spread that really delicious flavor throughout the bag and let it penetrate into the salmon. And then we go, it's as simple as that. So I like to kind of press it down a little bit and do a half seal because when you actually pop these bags into the water, just because of the gravity and the water around it, it automatically pushes the air out. So it's actually easier than you think to get the air out because you want to get as much out as possible, otherwise these are going to float to the top of the pan and it's really annoying. So the sous vide is ready to go. So let's start with this one. We just want to drop it into the water and it's 45 degrees. It is hot, but for me it's not too hot. So as you can see, it kind of balloons up and the air comes to the top of the bag. So you want to just gently push it down, and once you've got most of the air out, you want to seal it like that. And if you're a little bit worried, you can leave that over the side and you can even peg them to keep them still. Pop this one in as well. So as you can see again, the air is all being forced out and forced to the top. You're just going to make sure the top little section is open like that, and then give it a nice seal. So to save these going absolutely everywhere I don't want them to, I will just peg them to the side of the pot. And there we go. It is just as easy as that. That's going to all melt and cook away, and the timer's going to go off when we're ready. So as you can see, I've set the temperature and that's the remaining time. Meanwhile, I'm going to make a delicious parsnip puree. I love how parsnip goes with salmon and with many meats actually. Duck's my favorite, but salmon is also good with parsnips. And if you want to keep it simple, of course, a good old mashed potato is amazing too. So I'm just going to start by peeling the parsnips. So basically, to make this parsnip puree, we're going to peel the parsnips, peel a potato because I like to thicken it up a bit sometimes, make it a bit more filling, add in a little bit of garlic, and we're just going to saute that down with a bit of cream, milk, and butter. So the thing is, you can boil these, but you want to saute these down all similarly sized so that they all cook and you can blitz this. And trust me, it's delicious. Now I'm also gonna serve some nice tasty greens with the salmon. So I've got some broccolini, I've got some asparagus, I've got some mixed cherry tomatoes and some beans. Now I've got a little trick to make this easy. I don't wanna really do too much to them because they're gonna, there's plenty of other flavors going on in this dish. So I'm gonna blanch them quickly. Obviously they all take different times. So my trick is I've got a pan of water behind me, which I'm just bringing up to a light simmer. I'm gonna pop in my broccolini first, then my asparagus, and then my tomatoes. And that's just gonna blanch them for a little while. Obviously the broccoli needs that little bit longer in the water to cook. And then I'm gonna pop in as well, I've got some crushed garlic to flavor a little bit, pepper and salt, and some butter. And the water will all evaporate and you'll be left with some nice kind of almost sticky and nicely kind of stir-fried in a way green veggies to have with dinner. So really nice and easy. So here we are, we've got pretty much all the elements almost ready. So the salmon is cooked, I'm gonna grab that out. The timer's gone off, I'm just gonna unpeg this salmon. Now obviously the bags are a little bit wet. I'll just put these down here. So these, as you can see, they're still that beautiful, nice pink color, but obviously we just wanna get a bit of that crispy skin, make it look a bit nice. I mean, I think it looks pretty good as it is, but I've got the pan behind me. So just before I serve these, I'm gonna put that on high heat. I'm only gonna see one of these tonight. I'm gonna save the other 3 for tomorrow. So what I'm gonna do is I'm literally just gonna pull out one of these salmons very carefully, by the way. I can feel it almost falling apart already. They're so fragile because they're really, really moist and tender. Just look at that. Now I've also got a great lot of flavor in these bags, and there's the liquid from the butter and the herbs and the lemon, and I'm actually gonna add this liquid into my sauce. It's the perfect bit of flavor. It's like when you cook some steak and you've got that remaining, or chicken, and you've got that remaining bit of flavor and the juice that runs out. You wanna add that into your sauce, and it's just gonna be an extra bit of boost of flavor. Now I've also got my stick blender or my immersion blender out to blend up that parsnip puree. Let's just give this a quick taste. You can see that texture, it's nice and thick. So we can keep this on a low heat and cook out a bit more moisture if we want to, but this is cooked down really nicely for my liking. Now I've just got to give this a quick taste for seasonings. That is amazing. I'm just gonna add a tiny bit of salt, and I'm happy we're all done with the immersion blender. So this is looking perfect. We've got our pan nice and hot. Just give that skin a light baste with the butter. And remembering, we're just looking for color. The fish is completely cooked, it's cooked perfectly. We just want some nice color and a bit of a crisp up on that skin. And I think that's looking pretty good. So we have all our elements all perfectly ready. Let's see how nice I can make this look. Gonna go, oh, I've already stuffed it up. Parsnip puree. So I'm gonna put that going to the side. I want the salmon sitting across like that. Excuse fingers, but it is my dinner, so let's lay out one of those. Actually, maybe we'll pop that below. And I'll place out my colorful tomatoes on this side. Now it doesn't look amazing, but I promise it will taste amazing. And I also have my sauce here too, we can't forget. And for anyone that's interested, obviously that delicious, nice crispy crust. And yeah, there we go. So this is my salmon, and this is the best way to cook salmon if you want a delicious, moist interior. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it, and if you want to see more cool recipes and follow along in my life, don't forget to subscribe, give it a like, and I'll see you guys next time.